Hi, it's Jen Joseph and from Envisage Executive Coaching, Releasing Your Confidence. And yeah, we're getting ready now to hear my 18-day story, as I promised I would tell. Now, this was a story where I went into a deep, deep depression and couldn't see it at the time. The thing was that I had been an executive director, I was a mother, I was divorced, but I was holding it together. And in fact, most of my staff at the time hadn't even realized that I was a mother, that I had children. And at the time, I could tell you that my children were probably about 3 and 6 at the time. Okay. So I'm going to tell you first of all about what was going on, the hesitations that was occurring within me. And yet I still continued to appear very, very confident in what I was doing and how I was conducting myself. Now, before I start telling my story, I have to say this. There are many of you out there who have been through some very, very serious issues in life. You know, you've either been bullied or you've been neglected or you've been physically hurt or mentally hurt or emotionally hurt. People have done things to you that you'd rather not talk about and you couldn't talk about because if you spoke about it, who would believe you? Especially if you told them who had done this thing to you. So I'm aware that there are many of you who are in that position. There are women who right now are in marriages that they're just about holding it together. Just yesterday I read a story about a young woman who placed a post on Facebook saying that her children were her life, that they gave her unconditional love. And the next day she parked her car on a bridge. The children she'd left in the car and she jumped off. So I know there are many of you out there like that. You're really, really hurting, and for some reason you've internalized that hurt and began to believe that there was something wrong with you. But there are others who haven't quite got to that stage yet. And they're at the stage where it's a matter of low self-esteem or low confidence. What's wrong with me? Why does this always happen to me? What did I do? How can I change it? I'm always the one that gets hurt. Or, it might go the other way. It might be, why can't I find a partner? Or why can't I find the right partner? Or I'm too ugly, I'm too fat, I'm too thin, I'm too short, I'm too tall. My skin's too dark, my skin's too white, my hair's too thin, my hair's too thick, my hair's too short, my hair's too... Many, many things going on out there, And society doesn't actually help because, it has learned and been teaching us how to create facades. But many of us learned to create facades long before the cosmetic world really got a hold of it. So here I am. I'm the mother of two very young children. I'm newly divorced. I'm in an executive position. I have my facade that I put on every day, and I step out into the world. The world has no clue what's going on inside. And I'm so good at this facade that they think I'm a single woman that's just living life, don't realize that I have other responsibilities at home. And I find myself beginning to hesitate. I find that I begin to think, can I do this? Every day becomes a chore. I'd wake in the morning, my head would be pounding, my skin would be hurting, my limbs would be heavy, and it would be a burden to lift myself and move. And it would be a case of my saying, just make the first step. Now make the next step. Now do the next step. Now choose something to wear. Make sure you put the colors together right. Okay, we can't do that, so we'll get a whole wardrobe of one color. That will limit it. We won't have to make choices then. And that was the way I continued through life. Do you know, if people wanted to go out at lunchtime, oh, no, I was far too busy. I had things to do. I needed to catch up. And when the staff were around, I'd focus on them. Yeah, I'd give them all of my attention. If they had a problem, there I was. So as far as they were concerned, I was an amazing boss because I always had time for them. But it wasn't that. It wasn't that yes, I did have time for them, but it wasn't just that. It was that I couldn't be still to hear the noise that was going on in my head, the internal conversation of not being good enough, not being worthwhile, I definitely wasn't authentic. And also the fear that other people would find out. I had to work really, really hard at maintaining this facade so that nobody would find out what a mess I was inside. I was a royal mess. I can tell you that right now. I was worse than 10-day-old oatmeal porridge. But nobody knew. Nobody knew because I contained it all. But in containing it, like anything that decays, after a while, the container doesn't work. Sooner or later, something begins to leak out. And there I was. The real me, the mess, was beginning to leak out. I was becoming more and more hesitant about what I did. I was losing my confidence in my ability to do stuff. And at this point, my ability lay wholly and squarely in my intellect. Because of the pain I'd gone through as a child, my decision had been that whatever I did, it was going to be through my intelligence. People were never going to see the emotional side of me. Now, if you've made that sort of decision, when you start to fall apart, your intelligence goes with you. It doesn't stop. It doesn't just switch on at work and then switch off when you get home so you can fall apart. The mess you're in follows you everywhere you go. One thing I learned about stress is that, one, it makes you physically very, very ill. But two, it shuts down your mind. It leaves you moving in small circles of what ifs, what if, what if, what if, what if. Eventually, I broke. But I broke at home. I could still pull it together to get to work. Although people would say, are you all right? Oh, yeah, I'm fine. I've just got something on my mind. I could still hold it together at work. But now it was showing up in my work. The quality of the work